Good evening. It is Hangout with the Battle Pirates Crib crew. We are live, and it's time to talk about Battle Pirates. So, with us tonight, I am the VP Professor. We got Dr. Death.
Hello.
And Insector Gadget.
What's up?
Apparently not SDS7 anymore. We want to make that clear.
Yeah. No, I'm not SDS7 anymore. I'm Gimps now. I did change my profile picture on Google, but it hasn't updated yet. So
we know you're just secretly supporting SDS7. We know.
and we got Hefe.
Fuck you, Death.
Howdy, everybody.
Yeah. I don't think we have any slides about the raid. So before we get into the slides, maybe we should just talk about the raid. Yeah.
Sure.
Sounds good.
What'd you think?
So, Death, how did you do in the raid?
Over 200 million points, just prepping for everybody else. I was a little bit annoyed, though, on the second day when they increased the splash there on the elite targets. That was just a bit ridiculous. If you're going to change things, at least let the community know about it. Fess up to what you did.
Yeah, I mean, nobody ever likes mid-raid changes. I mean, we talked about this for ages and ages since it's been obvious they've been doing them, and even though they deny it, but it just people hate it, and it breeds distrust.
I kind of got Raken to admit to it on one night on another show. I was like, yeah, well, you don't know what I've got. He's like, well, I'll just change the targets. I was like, oh, so you admit you changed the targets mid-raid?
Nice.
Well, I think I saw that one. I think you were being slightly braggadocious, and he was trying to rein you back in. Is that true?
Yeah. It was a clever trap. It was a clever trap that I set, actually. But yeah.
You know, we've seen them change the targets for the good, and we've seen them change the targets for the bad. And Kixeye has no problem about admitting when they roll the targets back for the good, which makes the player base happy. They might as well go ahead and admit when they increase the damage or change something in the target for their benefit. I mean, it's honesty. That's all we're asking for out of them is some honesty.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, we know they need to make money. You know, I ain't got a problem if you're not making any money and you got to increase the damage to make a coin. That's fine with me, but at least tell me about it so I'm aware of it. So I don't go in there and all of a sudden, bam, my fleet's gone, and I'm like, what the hell? You know.
Yes, I guess their transparency on that issue was in transparent font, the new color.
Hey Tito, how's it going?
I'm going good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you guys. So what? Death and Gadget, you were hitting S targets.
Yep.
And then, so I didn't like the increased damage, so I stuck with A's.
Do you know what I found? I found that I was taking a lot of extra damage off the main big radioactive turret, right? Because that was the only one that was really getting close to me. And I found that if I was really, really careful about how I approached it, it didn't catch me. Do you know what I mean? Like you actually have to kite it really right on the edge of your range, and stay in a straight line. If you turn at all while it's firing, you're screwed. It's going to take half your fleet.
I found a completely different way to take on that center turret. The way I was doing it is I would wait until the thing fired, and then I would dive in at it, get off a couple shots, and dive back in and turn, almost a 90-degree turn out away from it, and keep it from hitting me.
Yeah, I was scared of making turns like that because if I made one mistake, I was done. So
if you made one mistake going straight across the line on that thing, you were done. You know what I mean? You had to be lined up perfect either way you went, or the splash on it caught you.
Yeah. So and then Hefe, you were doing something different, right?
Yeah, I had cannoneers, and I just decided to hit the 73s because I was able to hit 3 of them in about 10 minutes and get what was about 1.4 million. And I was either instant repair or no damage at all. I just concentrated on. I killed the ballistic turret just south of the main one, and then killed the main turret, and then I went and got a beer, and then killed the rest of them. It was just nice not having the nice being able to relax and be able to snipe the rest of them without something coming down on me.
Yeah, all right. How about you, Tito? How do you do?
I was doing pretty good in the raid. I found the hundreds to be so easy that I ended doing like the oh my, I think it was 10 or 12 for 3 or 4 hours of damage. So it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. All right. So that was the raid. Next month, I guess we'll see the last one of the cycle, the whole raid, and I guess more of the same kind of targets.
Well, I expect that at least we see an extra target for the that goes with the 100 left set like they normally happens.
Yeah. Oh, like last. Well, they did it last cycle. I wouldn't call it normal, but
I expect them to do that too.
all right. Well, I can start the slides, and
Alrighty.
we'll get into all the new stuff because there is a lot of new stuff. But we'll start with bug fixes because Kickseye's taking those bugs and eating them up, eating them all up. Eat your bugs. All right. So let's see. Researching retrofit levels for a haul through the foundry properly unlocks retrofit ship skins. Radioactive accuracy bonus added by atomic focus will now be displayed in the stats for the turret. I guess it wasn't before. Hull specific tokens have been reorganized in the token inventory. All tokens only work for a specific hull. We move to the hull category, which has been renamed hull specific, non-hull specific ship token. Wasn't that the way it already was? Did they just rename the tabs?
Yeah, they just renamed the tabs.
Okay, great. And then fixed an issue where the sprite for the defending ship displayed in the base planner would not be facing the same direction as indicated by its rotation setting.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm sort of surprised the one that they didn't mention because it's bug fixes and what do they call it? Bug fixes and
Changes.
Tuning.
And tuning.
Yeah. Tuning, yeah.
Thank you.
I was surprised they didn't even mention the fact that they combined those two retro lab categories.
The missile ones.
The missile ones, yeah, where you had your long range missiles and then you had your. Even though it's been in there a long time, the Vulture and the Hyena had their own category prior to the update, and now the Vulture has been moved into the category with the Sentinels and the Executioners, and the Hyena no longer has a category.
Yeah, I mean, I we'll talk about the Hyena, but I think they just didn't want to have the Hyena in the retro lab.
Yeah, it was just. I just thought it was that they didn't mention it. I mean, not that it needs to be in there. It's just the fact that it's been in the retro lab for 6 months, and now as soon as the Hyena comes out, they pull it from the lab.
Yeah, they could have pulled it whenever, I suppose. Okay. Homeland, not the Showtime TV show, but a new TLC. And the top prize, mastery prize, is a limited hull called the Liberator. Conqueror hull. I guess you can do this up to 5 times, get a whole fleet of Liberators. But then you also see in Homeland, right, SSKP enhancement. We'll talk about that. That's a missile turret special, and then a new missile turret. And then, like I just said, the new hull. So let's show some of that stuff. SSKP enhancement increases missile accuracy and reload. So obviously good for missile turrets. And I'm going to go to the next one real quick, and we'll kind of come back to that because, okay, so you got the Hyena missile turret. The big deal here is this huge damage number. Obviously, that's going to overcome, I think, any penetrative deflection we've seen on any Conqueror hull. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Even the Vendetta, it's well over it.
Yep. 5-second reload, which is pretty good, and then 40% flak evasion, 75% accuracy. So It will miss, or it might be shot down, but it's pretty good. Obviously, Bullseye Brigade on a defensive ship, on a attacking ship, will do pretty well here. And then you got range 105, so it kind of goes with your front line. There are ways around that too. So you look at the DPS, compare it to a Deadeye or an Executioner. Obviously, it's huge. I guess as you would expect a frontline turret, the one salvo means that huge amount of damage does not get broken up between missile shots, so you get that full damage.
One thing. If they got siege battery on, you're going to have to half that though.
That's true. Siege battery will cut that. Okay, so if you look at specials on this, and I don't think we have any of this on a slide, but we were talking before the show, and if you want to increase the range on this, the best special for range is the researchable scramjet, and if you have that fully retro, that's going to give you a 31% range increase, which
takes it out to 137.5.
137, yeah. And that range is kind of equal to, there's some center island turrets, like a Wendigo or something like that, that also have ranges in that neighborhood. So even though this is intended for the front line, you might be able to kind of squeeze this on a center island and really tear somebody up as they go around.
Yeah, and it's a good. That's the special ability really puts it as something that you might want to hold back a little bit with the 50% chance of critical damage on enemies below 50% health, because
True.
Once they get back in your base, it's a higher chance that they might have less than 50% health.
Yeah, good point.
But now you can also use other special combinations, give it a 25% range boost, and take its base damage all the way up to 70,000 points of damage.
Yeah, so I'd say if you want to try and squeeze it on the center island, then you need every bit of range you get. But if you're putting it in your front line, or I think Gadget, you suggested this might be a good use of that underwater turret transformer. Yeah, bumping up your damage might be the way to go at the expense of a little bit of range.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this will fit on a level 7 level 7 turret either. It's got a lot of weight. I mean, on a level 8, you can only really fit 2 specials, right? You got I can't fit 3 specials on my level 8 with it.
Well, no, I've got the SSKP. I went with, because I put it as a frontline one, so I wasn't so worried about the extra range. I was worried about the extra damage. Fire support M and thermobaric casings on that sucker. But I've also ran 3 of the solar reinforcements in the armor slots.
Okay, you got AT on it.
Yeah.
And
yes. I've got the damage up to 70,729, and that's not counting any of the fire support that's being added to it.
Oh, you got it on your island?
No, I've got it on my front line, but I got 2 warehouses on either side of it carrying fire support too.
Okay.
Which adds another 30% of damage boost to that, so that puts it, what, close to 100,000?
And if it gets a critical?
Yeah.
If it gets a critical, the ship's just going to disintegrate. There ain't nothing. Well, is there anything out there with over 200,000 armor points?
125 is kind of the usual big number, right?
Yeah, so we're talking, this thing's a 1 or 2 shot kill, period. This is a monster of a turret. But of course, Bullseye Brigade, will.
Yeah. All right.
See, what did you say you had on yours? Did you say you had thermobaric casing, fire support M, and the new special?
I got thermobaric casing 2, giving me a 27% bonus for damage.
Two. That's it. Yeah, you got 2 on. Okay.
And fire support M giving me another 31% damage boost, and then I've got the AT transformer on it, which gives me a 35% damage boost.
Yeah. See that? I don't think you actually need the solar panels for that. I thought you said thermobaric 3. If thermobaric 2, you don't actually need the solar panels. You can fit all 3 with AT.
I wanted to stay alive a little bit longer, get that second and third shot off.
Okay.
Well, 1.2 million armor points. It's doing pretty good.
Okay. And then, the new hull. So again, this is limited, but you can win a full fleet of these.
Now, see, I disagree with that so much.
With what, making it limited or being able?
Yeah,
to
because in the past, when we've had to go through mastery on a campaign, it was always a campaign that was on our tower. You know what I mean? That we could do whenever we wanted. So like this week, we could go through and win a hole, and next week go back and win a hole. But instead, they've made it a mastery level type campaign, but put it into a TLC.
Yeah. And what they're bringing back some other TLCs starting tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot to do between the TLCs, obviously the Forsaken mission, and then VXP weekend. So a lot going on, and if you don't want a coin, it's going to be tough to, I just think, fit everything in, even if you can do all these without too much, without getting ripped up. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you've got a decent Conqueror base hitter and an FM fleet, the campaign's actually not that difficult. It's just kind of boring because I mean, I'm using Citadels and they move so damn slow, right? So it takes forever.
But see, my point is that I haven't met a TLC that I couldn't finish without coining in a long time. But I'll get some ships torn up and I'll have to slow repair them before I do the next round or something. So if you got 7 rounds of this, if you want to do get all the Liberators, and then you want to do Rogue, and you want to do Spiteful, and want to do the Forsaken mission, and just everything, those repairs just the time starts adding up.
Yeah, the times, because you got to hit this thing 5 times mastery, so 7 times. Yeah, you got to do it 7 times to claim it all. On top of the 3 other TLCs, the FM and VXP weekend, that's a lot of freaking content, especially just after coming off a raid.
Yeah, for sure.
So stay busy. Try and keep your repairs busy.
And you do got to mention with this hull as well, right, that if your base is set up with 4 tiles and 2 walls as your safe distance, you're going to have to change your base, right? Yep. You're gonna need 5 tiles as your safe distance.
Right. We didn't start talking about the hull yet, but here's the big one is this 10% missile range. So yeah, that's gonna what's it gonna put you up to? 90.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise, because if you remember when the Retribution came out, it had also that huge range, and they got to nerf it because it was sniping all the items from all sides. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just start to do the same.
Yeah, this is just a little over 106, I think, with the range buff.
Yeah. So let's look at some of the other ones. It's got 6 specials like the Pride. Lots of armor, plenty of weight. It's got the assault DPS. We kind of talked about that last week. Evade, unreactive, huge explosive deflection, pretty good concussive deflection. Yeah, I got attacked by Prides, and I noticed the concussive did pretty well against the one that came in.
Yeah, some of the stats seems a copy paste of the Pride, honestly.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a pretty good haul, I think.
It's very weak. It has no defense against ballistic.
Okay.
That's what I was just going to say. Blunderbuss.
You got a blunderbuss.
Yeah, they mess it up.
Okay.
But you can snipe a blunderbuss with this hole.
Not if you got ATR on there, you can't.
Yep.
Depends if you put the transformer for damage or for range. If you have the range one, you can't. But if you put the extra damage, then yes, you can snipe them.
Yeah. All right. So pretty good haul.
But
one thing that needs to be brought up.
You could tank it with a spite. Do you know what I mean? Because the spite's not going to take any ballistic damage. So you could distract the blunderbuss with the spite while you kill it off with these.
One thing that does need to be pointed out, though, about this hole, the Bloodthirst, is rival. So it will not stack with any other Conqueror hole that we currently have.
Yeah.
It will. The Bloodthirst will only stack with other Liberators, period.
Until we get some more.
Oh, right, right. So if you mix a Liberator in with Vendettas, you get the Bloodthirst going on one or the other, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if they both hit, yeah, you can't. If they both hit, as soon as it dies, they both get bloodthirst. But if you don't participate in the damage, once it's dead, you don't. Whoever wasn't firing on it doesn't get it.
Yeah, you only have to get one shot on it, right? You only have to land one shot on it, and when it dies, it doesn't matter what ship kills it. That ship that got the one shot will get it bloodthirst.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this hull, unlike the Pride, is unreactive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but we have no idea what timing it is on the unreactive, right? Because sometimes it's a 0.4, sometimes it's a 0.1, sometimes it's a 0.8. So
Yeah.
I'd be interested to find that out.
Yeah, I did notice no radioactive deflection, so you probably want to use the radioactive plates on this too.
Yeah, this is the second one in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't seem to be. That's the thing that kind of shocked me about this one. This seems to have pretty much the same defenses that the Pride does. Normally when the Kixeye's been trying to mix and match, where one ship's strong against one thing, it's weak against another. But this one seems to be running the same line as the Pride. So both ships together are going to be weak to the same things and strong to the same things, and that just didn't make sense.
The Pride actually gets better missile deflection if you've got 5 in the fleet, but it gets less corrosive deflection.
Okay. All right. You ready to move on?
Sure.
Okay. Roguelike. So this is the campaign. What was it? Legion targets?
This is the one
No.
that has the same targets like in the raid. Well, similar ones.
Oh, it was Reaver targets. Yeah, so Reaver
Scourge
targets.
targets, I think.
Yeah, Scourge targets, yeah, Cannoneers or Ironclads or Zealous.
Oh,
This is the one that nobody did.
Yeah, because they had the damage stacked up way too high, and those crews weren't worth it.
Yeah, especially because for the high-end players, the scavengers to get 2 times the base part was not so much appealing with the damage you were taking, especially from those ballistic long range turrets that were nearly one shot killing or half killing your ship. So people just gave away.
Yeah, because the people who could benefit from that crew weren't capable of doing the campaign.
Yeah.
Right? Because anyone who is capable of doing the campaign doesn't really need that crew because they just run multiple Ironclads and auto loads of 97s at the same time, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, really, these crews that they're offering us, at the numbers they're offering us, if they offered me like a demolition squad × 5, then hey, yeah, I might chase it, but just one demolition squad. And what am I going to do with a junkyard dog in the current state of the game? You know what I mean? It ain't gonna make no difference with the Vendetta fleets that are out there, especially not with the Zoe Vendetta. And then I don't need scavenger scoundrels because, like everybody else, I auto for my base parts, and then irradiated cutthroats ×1. That's there's just I don't see value in what they're offering for this campaign.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Spiteful. This is the one with the Reavers, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So again, Spite VXP tokens, Spite build tokens, Spite hull. So if you don't have the Spite, this is definitely worth it. If you want to finish or refit your Spites, it's probably worth it. I know I added some warplate to my sprites with the tokens I got last time around. So
yeah, I would suggest everybody to try the pack 1. Most of the times you can do the pack 1 even with low tech. Problem is that to go for the last 2 packs, unless you have the fleet to do the discharges, you're not going to do it. Especially the last one that normally is 1 hour.
Yeah.
Okay. High Tide Elite. Fire Twisters, Harlock Tide Seekers. Again, if you want to keep working on your only 3 days of build tokens, that's not that much.
Yeah, what's
I know when you
seven
consider how long a build that hull is as well.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that is another chance for anybody that doesn't have the Harlock Tide Seeker, so they can cut the damage when they are hitting uranium targets if they still hit the river armadas to get uranium instead of the dupe bases.
Well, I'm gonna get it as well so that I can auto 2 armadas at the same time.
Yeah, that must be the only reason to have a second Harlock Tide Seeker, because I never found the reason for the second.
Have they increased the thing? Can we have 2 of the Tide Seeker flagships?
Yes.
You can have 2.
I mean, I built mine with...
But you could on the past have 2 when they released this by the second time, I think it was. The problem is that if you use like me, that you just use a shell that you put on the corner and you play with the other Tide Seekers to hit the target, I don't see the point of having a second one.
Oh, that's what I do. I have a shell with 1 anti-mort on it, so it doesn't move, and I run it with 2 Tide Seekers, and I've got 5 Tide Seekers. So I'll get this, and I'll build the shell, and I'll just put it with 2 of my other Tide Seekers, and then I can auto 2 armadas at the same time and get my uranium quicker.
Yeah, because for any that doesn't know, the Tide Seeker, Harlock Tide Seeker gives you an extra boost and resistance, so you can do those targets for less damage. But you don't want that ship to get a single scratch, because it's likely 3 times the repair of the other ones.
Yeah, it's painful, man. You don't want that ship getting killed.
Okay. And then VXP weekend. So Friday to Monday. Raiding fleets around relays. And then 2 other targets. You got the level 100, which are like the elite S targets we just saw. And then level 55 targets, tire durations, Reaver Armadas, find it around dubs.
Now
go ahead.
For the non-coiners out there, and even for some of the coiners that want to save coins, please remember that the unidentifieds are easy to kill with the current fleets that we're trying to rank, and they pay out good VXP, especially if you're running a salty, versus the level 100, which you're only going to get VXP for if you die.
True.
Yeah, I really don't like the way they've been going with this. You know, it's like basically, and I've heard it from a lot of people, we shouldn't be forced to suicide our fleets in order to rank them. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean?
It's just they're telling us that we got to buy the rank.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand that, yeah, it's cheaper than the outrageous amount of money they require for you to instant rank it. But, you know, at the end of the day, we've gone from being able to go and pick apart a target and get minimal damage, but still get good VXP, to having to suicide our stuff because they give us a VXP target that is only viable to be hit by 2 holes or 3 holes in the game. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's only like Cannoneers, Zealous, and not even Zealous, I mean, or Ironclads. Really, it's only Cannoneers that can handle these targets. With
but the problem is you don't want to handle the target. You don't want to handle the target. That's the problem, because if you go in with your Cannoneers, you run the 100 perfect and take no damage, you get no VXP.
Yeah.
You only get VXP for damage that you receive on that target, because there's no ships.
Yeah, there's no ships.
Yep.
It just seems like a bit of a raw deal to me, you know. Like, I feel like I'm getting shafted.
Well,
And there's no fun in it.
No, it's not. It's a horrible chore. It's a chore that I really don't like, because I know that I haven't got the patience to go and hit the unidentified raiding fleets. It just takes too much time for me. So I know it's going to cost me money, basically. And that's it.
Now here's the big question. Here's the big question for everybody that just got the Pride. We already know they cannot hit the salvages.
Can they hit the URFs?
Can they hit the URFs, or do they have no other option but to pay Kixeye coin to rank their fleet.
It might be, it might be that they can only hit the level hundreds. I'm pretty sure I read something about them being targets that aren't like class locked. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure all the other targets are, right? Like they have to put out a specific target that's not class locked for you to hit it with these ships.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we know that hitting salvage, you were not going to get much points on.
No, you can't hit salvage.
No, you can, but even if you can, we saw it with the Vanquisher in the past that you were hitting those and you were not getting. I think you were getting 1 point from time to time, because the huge armor points they have made those targets nearly useless for you to rank with them. Well, it was a bit shocking for many people when they went jumped, building the pride and trying to do the typical thing. No, let's see how powerful this is, and we go hit a 71, which I find pointless, because those hulls have setups that are so old in the game that any single thing that you have now is probably a lot more powerful.
But that's not the point, Tito. My point is that the unidentified raiding fleets should not be locked. Okay.
Yeah, he's saying that he doesn't want them locked, but I'm saying I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, it's unclear, right? It's right down here. It says both target types have no class restrictions for attacking. So by both types, do they mean both the 55 and the 100, or do they mean those and the ERFs? So I guess we'll just have to wait till Friday to find out.
Well, if the ERFs are locked, then what Kixeye is saying is that the only way you can rank your prides is if you either slow repair, for 2.5 hours after each hit if you haven't put any armor on them yet, if you got to fight a 5, or you're going to pay us coin.
Yeah, I think it's the 100 and the 55. The 100 and the 55 are going to be the ones with no class restrictions, and everything else is going to have class restrictions. It's it says that at the bottom, class restrictions will be in place.
Well, those are
that's salvage and elite salvage.
Yeah.
But here they, unidentified raiding forces, level 100 and level 55, and they say both targets. So which both targets are they talking about?
Well, and then it says there are 2 types, the 55 and the 100. So it actually does sound like they're not talking about the ERFs. They're talking
right.
about
Or they forgot to say if those can be hit or not. So we will have to experience.
I mean, if that's how it is, that's kind of unfair. Do you know what I mean? Because for guys that don't have the money to just throw at the game, they're gonna not be able to get the rank that they want, especially given the fact that they limit the time that these big targets are available. Yeah, right? It's like 24 hours. Or
26.
Or 36 hours. So you can't even really, if you're a non-coiner, it's going to be hard for you to,
especially if you got to work or anything else going on.
Or what if you've got more than one fleet to rank? It's going to be, you can only repair one fleet at a time.
Yep.
It's going to be difficult for you to do that slow repairing. It's going to take you several months to get it ranked, really.
Yep. Okay. Well, that was cheery. Forsaken mission changes. Nothing about the structure or progress of the Forsaken mission is changed. Talking like Tito. You'll still be able to hit FM targets, earn points, reset progress, collect prizes. The points required to reach prize pools have not changed, nor have the payouts changed. So what did they do? They made the level 7 easier. Haven't seen that yet. They're calling a tier is now called a prize pool.
I've been waiting for that.
I know, because I hated saying tier. Man, that was terrible. So confusing calling it a tier. All right. Prize list. Punisher and Citadel are now on tiers 1 and 2. Oh, now that's confusing. I meant prize pools 1 and 2.
See, now you're going to confuse everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they change from, the A, B, the tier A? Why did they change? Why did they make some of these changes?
I don't know. I don't know.
Jefe, you have put swimsuits everywhere, and they decided to change tier for pools so they could fit with yours.
It's a possibility.
All right. Yeah. So, and then also you can get build and VXP tokens in the prize pools for Punisher and Citadel.
Yeah, but I think it's a one time only. It's not
Yeah.
something you're going to get every single week.
Yeah, it's just this one time. But you know what? I found a use for them, man. Like, you know, I never use my Citadels for FM. I use my Vendettas for FM. And I had the Harlock Citadel and a Citadel that used to be in my base before I got the Harlock Citadel with no engine on it, right? And I used the tokens that I got to refit the engine on it so I could do the TLC without it being so slow. It was quite useful.
Yeah, so you know, I'm looking at it, right, and I do use my Citadels for the FM, but I haven't refit high velocity rounds on my Citadels, so that's my plan for the Citadel tokens.
Yeah, that's one day. If you change that one and the viscosity regulators on yours, it's 1 day and few hours each.
Yeah, so that'll be nice. And then for the Punisher, right, I have one Punisher tank, and then I have a few other Punishers that I used to use for dubs and just kind of sit around now. So I'm thinking I could refit those back into more Punisher tanks for FM.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I won the Punisher tokens, and I've already refit. I had 6 Punishers, and I had 3 of them set up as tanks, and the other 4 I've just been collecting dust. I was about to put them over in storage, and hey, I got these tokens. What the heck? So now 2 more Punishers are tanks, and I got 4 tanks.
Yeah. All right, so let's see, what else did they do? Prize pool reshuffle. I think we show that on the next slide if you want to get out your magnifying glass and see what's in each prize pool. And then added some new prizes, which we'll also go through.
Yeah, they added some fluff.
Yeah, so here's some fluff. They added the Hailstorm D. And so we looked at this, right? It's got salvo 6 and reload time of, well, this is retro, so what is it, 4 base?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but it's heavy. So it's an improvement on the Hail C, right? Because it's the same weight as the Hail C, 480 tons, same accuracy and range, but they added an extra shot and dropped the reload time. But if you compare it to the Gales, you've got the reduced accuracy, you got the reduced range, you've got 1 less shot, and then you do have a better reload time for the Hailstorm, but it's heavier. If you really look at the comparison, it's like the Gale 2, which is half the weight. So, not too excited about the Hail D, right?
No,
the only use I see for it is for guys who weren't able ever to get the limited Gale prints. If you haven't got any limited Gale prints, then I guess I could see a use for it.
Yep. All right, so moving on. Ballistic upgrade. I don't see.
I don't see a use for this one so far, unless it's that you're going to use one of those tier 6 holes that we are starting to see now, and you're taking engines away and you're putting this, but
even then, I don't know why they keep releasing these 10% damage upgrades, right? You give us holes that have like 9,000 deflection and give us a 10% upgrade for a weapon that does like 1,000 damage. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? What's the point, really? It's just, you're just wasting our time with it.
fluff.
Okay, so let's stop wasting time with it. Concussive overlay. So tactical installation creates an aura, provides concussive resistance to the description says walls, but the blueprint says buildings. Good job, Kix's Eye. Way to proofread. Equipping to buildings will improve this resistance. Stacks multiplicatively, which is also fondly known as Kix's Eye math.
but I think it's one that comes not in the right spot of time, no? Because you were expecting something like the corrosive to stop the pride a bit better.
We have that already. Chromium overlay is exactly the same as
you
this.
have it if you have been playing for long, but imagine somebody that has started to play, I don't know, from last May or last August last year. They don't have anything like that.
But also, Tito, we are getting all these new stuff at the moment, new hulls, new weapons. This makes me think that there might be a concussive weapon coming soon.
Yeah.
Or one at least with a concussive component.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Well, we just got this the Spite 2.0, so I imagine the Revenge 2.0 is coming.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure Chromium overlay is in here somewhere, right?
I didn't see it anywhere, to be
All
I
honest.
didn't either.
All right. So no Chromium overlay for you guys.
It should be in there though, really.
Yeah.
It should be, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think the interesting thing is that the best prizes are coming out of pool 1 and 2 until you've you know.
But that we also asked for some things to get changed, especially with the foundry, like those explosive system 4 and the judgment mortars, and sooner it was a bit late, but they did at least. And now you can see on what was the tier 4, that is the judgment mortar and the explosive system 4 that are requirements for the tier 5. That was the Citadel. Well, now the Citadel is very easy to get, but at least they have done some changes we asked.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that I don't like about it, and this goes back to what we've discussed in the past. Okay, if someone is just now getting into the game and just now getting to where they can do the FM, look how freaking long it's going to be before they're going to get their first ship build token. I mean, 32 prizes in prize pool 4 and 30 prizes in prize pool 5. That's 16 weeks before you're going to receive your first token.
I agree,
16
least,
weeks that you can, not counting raid weeks. You got to take them raid weeks out.
Look how easy for them is to get a Punisher or get the Citadel and get the build tokens for those specific holes, likely 3 days on that.
I do agree that you can give them a boost to start them. But what I'm saying is they should have pulled some of the stuff out of 4 and 5. You know what I mean? Because if they're saying this is to help the lower people get up, what's the biggest thing that helps in this game? A one-time ship build token, or them ship build tokens that us top end players are getting every single week.
Yeah.
There ain't a week that goes by that I don't have ship build tokens, either from the raid or from the FM. I always have ship build tokens.
Yep.
And that just boosts what I'm able to produce out of my shipyard, without coining.
Yeah, but that's were the numbers that Hef and I were playing maybe a month or 2 months ago, when we just
but it's even worse now.
In numbers to look at how long it takes since you start to do tier 5 till you get those tokens, and I think it was 10 months or something like that.
Yeah, and when it was, when it was,
you're not accounting for the new ones that get added every month.
Do we know how long this current FM is going to go on before they change the targets, though? By the way,
supposedly after this next month, that is the last of the siege, is coming the garrison one. So we are counting about 4 months or 5, because normally they give that extra month in which there are the 2 targets still. So in 5 months more or less, we should be dealing with a new target, and this one should be disappearing.
Okay, I was just wondering, because I was thinking, just like them to put these things in there and make them easy, like a month before it's going to change and you're going to need a totally different fleet. But okay, 4 months is not too bad.
Yeah. But what I'm talking about is they keep adding stuff to prize pool 5 and prize pool 4, but they're not taking anything away. So every time we go through a raid and we start into the next month's cycle, then anybody that's coming into the FM or just getting into the FM is extended even further than what they were before.
Yeah, I mean, look at all this stuff. It's just kind of overwhelming. I mean, let's say you're a new player and you just had all this stuff dropped in your lap. What are you going to use where? Do you even know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and last month what Tito was referring to earlier was, we assumed that at least I assumed, they were going to take stuff out of 5 and 4 and move it down the line, because there is so many of them at this point. And the value of what's up at the top of the list has been decreasing. And it's, you see how long the prize pool 4 and 5 have gotten. Yeah, it's, I'm actually quite surprised that it move anything down out of 4 and 5 into 2 and 3.
Yeah. All right.
Well, they did move stuff down. Okay, they did. Like the Judgment Mort was in Pool 5, and they moved it down to Pool 4.
Okay.
And Explosive System 4 was in 5, and they moved it down to 4.
Okay, so they
Yeah,
moved two
and
of them
also
down. We were
But they didn't
checking
move anything out of 4 down to 3.
But so fundamentally, Kixeye pooped in their pools.
Exactly.
Baby.
I'm just saying they need to start pulling some of this stuff off the top 2 prize pools. If they're saying they're going to use this for players catch up, the biggest thing that helps players catch up is getting ships built.
Yep.
And them tokens are the most valuable thing there is in the FM for any player in the game. And now you 32 items in tier 4, which is the first one they're going to get. That means 16 weeks.
You know what would be nice is replace those research tokens with ship build tokens that are
even if they were like a 12-hour, 1 hour,
12 hour. Yep.
well, maybe if you're starting the research one is not that bad for you, because it's like when you're doing it twice, it's likely you're getting 1 extra day.
Well, sure.
Maybe the 1 hour is the one that you could take away and put something different. But the research token of 12 hours, I think, is not bad for people that are starting.
But see, that's people that are starting are getting the blueprints. They're not getting the last prize, right? You understand what I'm saying? It's the last prize. It's not the first prize. So it's those people. Most of the people that are getting these tokens from the lower levels are probably not just starting.
I mean, okay, think about it like this. If you're somebody that just come into the game, okay, and you're doing your FM for your first time, and oh, great, I got a Punisher. Okay, so then you build your Punisher, you come back next week, you make it a tier 2. Oh, I want a Citadel. Okay, well, look at it. What then you look at it, you make it to tier 3, and you get the 1-day Citadel build token, and you get the siege targeting. That is somewhat useful. You can use that, right? But you make it to tier 4, and you get incinerate shells, which is great for your Citadel. But then you get Charon torps. What the heck are you going to use Charon torps on? The Predator sub that you're going to research out of your lab?
They won't. They won't.
That will be an nasty Predator.
I'm sorry to break this, but they won't fit on a Predator.
Well, then, see, I mean, that's what I'm saying. If they're going to try and make this as something as a catch-up mechanism, then they need to get rid of all the freaking fluff.
Well, yeah, and I think, going along with this, they want to do the Foundry and make it easier to get holes through the Foundry. So, right, so what do you use Charon Torp on? Well, hopefully you can actually earn a Barracuda or something like that with a reasonable amount of Foundry effort. But right now it's kind of unreasonable. All right, are we done with this pooping in this pool?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I think we all approve on the side, because you said it was going to be complicated, but we were reading it.
Okay, so screw up. Yeah, tattooing your private parts on your back. I would like to unsee that. And then, I think we talked last month about this too, that everybody's still kind of disappointed with how the Ironclads are performing in the raid. Yeah?
Well, I think they performed fairly well in the last raid. I think it was more people were disappointed when they upped the damage and how much damage they were getting in the current raid, the last raid that we just finished. Because I was surprised how well, in the first raid of this series, how well my Ironclad worked. Because I had sort of been ignoring them using my Cannoneers. But this raid, when I used them once, and it was just a
But in which
tremendous
station
world
were you
of
using
difference.
them?
What?
In which station were you using them?
Okay, in the first raid cycle, I think I've already said this on the show. I used one and hit a 75 and was able to, even though I had a flash crash and it sat there in the range of the center turret for the 2 minutes it took me to get back to the game, I was able to kill the whole target with a single Ironclad. This raid, I used 2 Ironclads and was able to kill 1 turret plus about 90% on one of the groups of turrets, and both of them were dead.
Okay.
And I know, some of the people we've been talking to that only have Ironclads weren't too happy with the performance. I didn't put this in there because of my experience, because I just sort of threw the Ironclad in there to see how it worked. It didn't change my rate any, but I think it changed quite a few other people's.
Yeah, the Iron.
I heard from some people that the Zealous were doing better than the Ironclads.
The Zealous was doing better than the Ironclad, but there was a noticeable problem with the Zealous that I tested out quite a few times, because I've got Zealous fully built. The damage that the Zealous was punching out was not equivalent to what the stat said it should be, because the Quake cannon is the highest DPS in the game. Shot per shot, a Quake cannon does more damage than any other cannon in the game. But I could go in with my Cannoneers and the Millennium guns, and in 2 shots I could take out one of them long range ballistic turrets. I had to sit there and shoot at one of them long range ballistic turrets 7 times with my Quake cannons before we kill it.
But are you taking in that equation the extra damage you are taking from the Harlock Cannoneer?
Yeah, the hull bonuses might be making the difference.
Because that Harlock Cannoneer is giving, I think, is 50 or 60% extra damage, and that's a big boost.
Yeah,
that is true.
All right, let's move on from this horrible thing and get some more Carl's Jr. commercials, which are phenomenal. Thank you, Carl. So yeah, we talked about this: the Punisher and the Citadel being pushed down to the low tiers. No players can get them quick. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I gotta give kudos to Kickside for that one. That was a good move.
All right, cool. Do you want to see these ladies some more, or are we gonna stop the slides? Because I think that's the end of the slides.
Oh wow!
They just get me and a. Oh, wait, I gotta stop sharing. Just me and an empty bottle of Stella.
Oh.
If
now you're going more
back, which. No, there we are. Me and my Stella.
I will say anybody anybody that's out there, we always said it's a lot of chores, but the new TLC is easily doable with your current FM fleet and a decent baser fleet.
Okay. Yeah, Gadget, you're saying Bullseye Brigade obviously helps missiles and.
Oh yeah, you can like the first run through, the garrison targets. You can actually do them with a bullseye if you drive them right. You can do them for under an hour damage, all of them, all the way through, right? So
see, I did them for under an hour's damage without even using a crew.
Well, I use a crew.
I didn't even use a bullseye. I mean, the target's not hard. It really is not. The second run through is not hard. I just got caught off guard on the 6th campaign with that stupid mortar chucker. It snuck in down from up top and shot halfway across the screen at my citadels instead of at my flag, or at, my tanks. So I took some damage on. That's where I took my damage at on the second run through, and I haven't done the third run through yet, so I haven't seen the 7th.
No, I did the third run through. The 7th, it's a base. It's actually a base unlike any base you've ever seen, right? Because when you go in, I took my prides in, and on the first 2 run throughs, I did the base with just 1 pride, right? I ran through with just 1 pride and killed everything off to minimize my damage. And I thought I was going to do that on this one. And I sent 1 pride in, and it got in fine without taking damage, but it just sat there. I mean, I was targeting a turret, and it's taken like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 shots at it, and the turret's got half its life still. So I had to run the other 4 in to kill the turrets, because it was just taking a ridiculous amount of time. These turrets had stupid armor on them, man. But it's very doable. If you've got prides, it's easy. Minimal damage.
Okay.
It's the same thing with this TLC. If you've got the right stuff, if you've got a decent FM fleet and you've got prides, it's all pretty easy. It's just that it's really, really boring. Like that's the biggest problem I have, and I've done it 3 times, and I'm really not looking forward to doing another 4.
I mean, are they just big targets?
Yeah, they take a long time to do, man.
Well, the thing is what they are. You go into the target, right, and targets 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 are like a combination of the DRAC bases with ships. Your FM targets with ships is what they are.
When you first go in, there's some Forsaken ships, and they don't target you. They target the turrets, but they don't really.
Yeah, Zoe's got a fleet in there attacking the base as well as you.
But it doesn't do nothing. It doesn't. It
dies real well.
It dies. That's about it. But then once you're actually in the base and you've killed off all the turrets, all these DRAC ships start coming in from the periphery, and you can't see them in the beginning. You can see them on the radar, but you can't move the screen enough to actually see them, so they're off the screen until you kill the turrets, and then they come in at you. You've got Kodiaks, a Savage Kodiak, and some strike cruisers. And like Def said, there's a Nova Storm with stupid, ridiculous remote targeting range in number 6.
And it fires Black Rain like I ain't never seen Black Rain fire.
I've seen some pretty good Black Rain in my day.
Oh man, I will tell you what. I've got the Citadels. I've got the high velocity rounds on them. I got a full fleet. Harlock's and the Harlock Citadel in front of them, right? And all 4 of my ships cannot lay out as many morts as that one Nova did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Grim Berserker on Overload, right? But all the time.
All the time. That thing's nuts.
Okay. All right.
Does anybody have? We brought up the prides a little bit earlier. Does anybody have? I guess they're not. I guess nobody has them. I guess we'll probably talk about that next week after VXP weekend. What everybody thinks about them, because probably right now is not a good time to evaluate the effectiveness of the pride, since nobody's got. Unless somebody decided to rank them all up.
Santana has a Scald set.
Wait, Santana's back? Didn't he quit?
Yeah, no, Santana's been back for a little while.
Oh,
he's with MYS.
Huh.
I saw a video of him hitting a base the other day, and he has Scald prides.
I will say this: I do think it was a little dirty. I think it was a little dirty of Kixeye to bring out a TLC not 2 days after we win the Pride and tell us that the Pride's the best ship to do the TLC with. We haven't even had a VXP target that we could hit to try and put rank on the hole yet. Yeah. So I think that was just a little dirty of Kixeye to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 4 empty shells basically.
I still remember my first Pride with a Vendetta without any rank at all, and man, I was hating those countermeasure ships in those war games campaigns, because I was shooting all my mortars and they were just cutting them all with the hail. So I can imagine the same experience with the Pride.
I think it sucks that they brought the Pride out, and 3 days after the raid, they drop a 33,000 damage missile turret when the Pride only has 7,500 deflection with 5 of them in the fleet, and they drop a missile chucking beast that people can put in their base. I mean, that's despicable. I'm sorry, but it's despicable.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing, though. I mean, the Pride and the new ship, the Liberator, that's in the TLC, both are just going to get ate by this thing unless you're running the crew. Neither one of there isn't a conqueror hole in the game that won't get ate by this turret if you ain't running the crew. You're going to have phalanx in the crew, or you're just might as well just go ahead and stick some dynamite down on the bottom of the hull of your ships before you even go in the base and say, okay, we're just going to suicide.
But Gadget, it was so despicable that you built 2, right?
No, dude, I've actually got 8 prides.
No, he's talking about the turret.
I'm talking about the Hyena.
Oh, the Hyena. Oh, yeah, of course I built them. You'd be an idiot not to build them. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be funny, but you know, it's got the. It's when you look at it and its stats, you'd be stupid not to build it. I built 2 just to see how they work out, you know, and if they don't work out, it's no biggie to change them. But I'm not getting rid of my Deadeyes or my Executioners because they can't be shot down by countermeasures. And I mean, right now, Executioners can actually be set up to overcome the deflection on Prides if you have enough fire support surrounding them and the right specials. Not the Deadeyes, but the
I'm gonna tell you what, level 8 turret, and then put this new special on an Executioner.
I've
that's what
got,
I was thinking.
I've got 3 Executioners on level 8s.
Put that new special on there.
Well, if I put that new special on there, I drop 2,000 damage straight away because I've got 3 specials on there, and my Executioners are putting out. Let me look. They are putting out 9. No, that's right. With the new special, they're putting out 17,329 without fire support. Without the new special, they are putting out. Let me just find it. Where are you? Oh, where are you? That's good. I don't know. It's 19,000 and something. It's like 2,000 extra damage that I'm dropping, you know, and I'm a little wary of that.
Okay.
Because you know when you're trying to overcome the deflection, every little bit of extra damage. That's it. 19,587.
Because the reload bonus isn't helping you versus a high deflection chip.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you fire more at it. You need to have that damage, right? And I mean it's got 19,587 without fire supports, and I'm getting between 90 and 120% from fire supports across the 6 turrets. So it overcomes the deflection by I think 2,000 or 3,000.
Cool. Anything else you want to talk about before we close out the show, say goodnight, and invite people to the after show? No?
Anything, Tito?
No, I think we covered it all.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I guess
we could talk about what happened with the slides this week because, man, they don't have those chicks. Did you find the models on time? What happened?
Well, I told you I didn't have much time, and
A little light on hot chicks this week.
yeah, you know. Well, you know, we got the Carl's Jr.'s girls coming together over the new Trump wall. That's that's originally what it is. And
no, I was wondering if you couldn't find models because they were
how often
exhausted after Monday day with President's Day and all that stuff.
Yeah, and how often have you seen a photograph, or even in person, but a one with a vagina tattooed on her back? You know, that takes some special effort by yours truly to dig these kind of things up.
Never seen that.
Yeah, I think that lady lost anatomy class that day.
Okay, well.
All right. Well, Hefe's going to post the show link, and we'll say goodnight.
Okay.
Night, everybody. You know, as messed up as that picture is, of her tattoo and that stuff on her back, as screwed up in the head as she's got to be, I got to wonder, is she a Kixeye employee?
Maybe she wanted something else on her back, and they just tattooed that instead.
Yeah, I hear
it didn't get proofread.
I think it's the new Pool 5 prize.